Moriore te whānau, no mai, haere mai, welcome back to the 99Dreams podcast. I'm Rauri, but if this is your first time listening, welcome into the 99Dreams podcast. Glad to have you here. Today is going to be a great episode. I'm joined today by an Otago Māori hockey player. He's exceptional hockey player. He's just finished his honours not too long ago, so he's hella intelligent, hella athletic. And bro, glad to have you on the show. Welcome everybody, Nick Parata. Welcome, brother. How are you?
Good boy. How are you?
Bro, I'm good now. Better now that we got you on the show.
Oh, bro, stop it, you. Yeah, not bad, boy. Not too bad.
And before we get any further, can we just get you to give us a bit of a ko wai no wai, who you are, where you're from?
Of course, boy. Kia ora whānau. Ko wai ko Nick Parata toku ingoa no te poti ahau. So my name's Nick. I'm from Dunedin, but I Māori whakapapa back up to Kapiti Coast, Wellington, Waikato way. Taranaki, as Rawiri will probably point out throughout the potty. So all over the motu, all over the country. But yeah, born and raised in Dunedin.
Then we're always glad to have whānau from the Taranaki maunga on the show. I think we're oversaturated with whānau from Taranaki on this show, but hey, I'm here for it.
Hey, now, it has to be done. It has to be done.
Oh, 100%, man. 100%. We got to keep the, what do we call it? Keep the maunga alive, keep the whanaungatanga strong. That's how we do up in here. But I got this new segment that we brought onto the show. My cousin introduced it. The first time we did it was with Breezen on the podcast. So we've got this thing. I don't know where he said he stole it from, but it's your rock and your rose, your highs and your lows. So what's been the rock bottom and what's been sweet like a rose in this past week for you? Or 2 weeks. You've had a few adventures around the motu lately. So yeah, let's go with the last month. What's been your rock and your rose for the last month?
Shit. That's the month that's been has been pretty hectic, but at the same time haven't done a hell of a lot. I think the rose would have to have probably been just got back from Mount Cook with a mate this Thursday. Just got back with him, so that was pretty sick. Getting out of Dunners and sort of getting to explore what we've got in Aotearoa. So that'd probably have to be the peak of the last sort of week, last sort of month. Rock bottom, dissertation handing was pretty rough. The last sort of 2 days leading into handing was not fun, not great, but hey, it has to be done, and we got there in the end.
Well, can you tell us a little bit more about the emotional roller coaster that is dissertation handed?
Oh, where do I start? Jesus. You think you're on track. You think you've got all the chapters, all the points nailed down, and then you get your feedback from your supervisor. Then all of a sudden, you've got to rewrite a whole chapter in 3 days, and you're like, "Oh shit, here we go!" Like, thought you're on track, and then come Friday, you think like you've done your full draft, you've addressed all the feedback, and then you get more feedback, and it's due in 3 hours, and you're just still addressing feedback, still getting more. You definitely go through a lot of highs and lows in that sort of week. You feel like you're on top of the world, you finished your full draft, and then all of a sudden you're getting feedback 3 hours beforehand, and you're like, oh, here we go, sweet.
It is a rough period of time, bro? Like, I remember doing something similar when I was handing in, but that was just because of my own stupidity.
Because didn't you like restart most of your honors?
Yeah, man. Like 2.5 weeks out, I just wasn't liking where it was going, so I started from scratch. And hey, it worked out. We got first class honors, so it'll work for you too, bro. Trust me.
Just chucking that slight flex in there as well for yourself.
I don't think many listeners will know or care.
Hey, some may.
Yeah, true. And those that do, thank you.
True.
And those that do, it doesn't always work out for you. Sometimes you have to start from scratch and start a podcast. Not always is
And the potty's going well as well. Like you're doing bloody mean at the moment.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. Appreciate that. One thing I will ask as well is related to that dissertation this year is how the fuck did you balance everything? You've had so much going on. Like, for those that don't know, we have Te Koro on Mondays where we meet regularly at 9 a.m. every week, where we all just sort of talk about what we've been up to and how our progress is going. Mine is never going great, but this guy's always rushing over from work. He's like, "Oh, sorry, fine, I'm gonna be like 5-10 minutes late. I'm just coming over from work." And I'm just like, bro, how the fuck do you manage, as well as your sporting achievements? What the fuck?
Um, Honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I think it's just in terms of workload, I am someone that really wants to get things done and wants to stick to a timeline. So I give myself however long to get something done, in particular, whether it's a chapter, whether it's addressing feedback, stuff like that. I give myself a time limit. So if it's not done by then that's my sort of first priority to get that out the way before moving on to something else. So feel like I'm still busy, but I'm not overloading myself with new content that I just got no clue on. In terms of sports side of things, I think it's just time management, trying to figure out trainings, games, trying to like any sort of spare time I've got, like what can I do to sort of best utilize my time so I'm not going to be behind the eight ball come 2 weeks time when I've got an assignment due, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, bro, that's hectic. I wish I had that. I wish I had that, man.
Sometimes it's like you feel like you're on top, and then other times you feel like you're getting ground and pound by John Jones in the UFC, and you can't see the light. Like it's pretty shit. But when it comes through, and you feel mean afterwards.
Yeah, true that. I mean, there's so many times, even with this bloody thesis that I'm currently working on, where you're like, fuck it, I could be keen to just play on the wrong side of the road for a little bit. Wait for some oncoming traffic or something like
Play chicken with the trucks oncoming.
that. Exactly, bro. Um, so, what? Obviously, you're into hockey. What other sports are you into? Let the people know.
Two main sports, yeah, obviously hockey. Other sport probably be cricket. Those would be my two mains. So one winter, one summer. Apart from that, anything that's got a ball, a stick, or you can run in, I'm all for. Pretty much every single sport that's out there, I would have either played, tried, had a go at. Yeah, anything sport related, fitness, exercise, I'm all into.
And how did that sort of, enthusiasm for sports and movement influence what you did in your thesis?
That's a good question. I think if we're to start right from the beginning, right from day dot sort of thing, my parents were quite influential in terms of I had to play at least one sport until the age of 16, I think it was, and then from there I could do whatever I wanted to do, whether that was continue playing sport or go off and do something else. So my parents were very influential in terms of my upbringing and sort of my love for sport in general. And obviously that never wavered. I've still carried that through all my life. So when it came to uni, I always wanted to do something sport related. And then the my first year was when the PE degree first changed. So it was the first year of the new PE degree. And I was like, oh yeah, like that sounds awesome. Like exercise science, it sounds like something that I could do. So I enrolled for that. And then I guess the rest is history. Yeah, went through undergrad, did post grad this year, obviously, and then we'll see what happens in the next few years.
Yo, that's on. That's on. And so, let's talk a little bit more about your university journey and how that all panned out. How did you decide and how did you come to that fork in the road where you're like, fuck it, I enjoyed this torturous 3-year degree or 4-year degree. I want to do a little bit more in postgrad.
I think it's like again going back to sort of my upbringing. Like I've always enjoyed the study side of things. When I was at high school, I didn't know how to study, and that sort of reflected in my exam results a wee bit. I was very much an internal type of guy. Didn't like exams, hated the stress, the build up. But once it was over, I felt mean. So coming into uni, I was like, okay, that's one area. If I'm gonna give this a good shot, that's one area that I really want to try and sort of focus on a bit more. So yeah, coming into uni, did 3 years. If you were to tell me in start of first year that I would have done postgrad, I would have told you that you were lying. I would have laughed in your face and said you were full of shit. It wasn't until maybe 300, maybe started 300 level, where I was like, I could actually see myself doing one more year and just sort of seeing how it goes. And this was after I did 206, Specs 206 and Specs 306, which I've talked about previously on the podcast with a couple people. And that sort of exercise science, co-op and Māori side of things, what really interests me. And the more I did it, the more I fell in love with it. And then, yeah, next phase was postgrad doing exercise science, co-op and Māori.
No. I guess, what was your experience like in 206? We've heard a lot about that paper in this podcast, and we've heard great things, but it's always interesting to get other people's perspectives. So what was your perspective in that paper?
I think Jade summed it up really well in terms of you're sitting there, you're listening to Chanel, and then all of a sudden you're just like, you haven't taken any notes down, but you're just like, I should be listening to this. Like, this is really important, but you just haven't. You're so much awe of AMJ, Chanel, Inano, when I was 206, and the knowledge that they have, that you just sort of forget to take notes, and you're just sort of sitting there being like, oh my god, like, they're the goats, like they're amazing, they're unreal. So for me, I relate on that sense, but at the same time, my Māori journey wasn't so clear cut compared to some other people. I didn't do any kapa haka, I didn't do any sort of Māori centric things through high school. It wasn't until 100 level Kia Ораhi papers and Specs 102 and then 206 where I was like, actually, this is my niche, like this is what I enjoy. So it wasn't until uni that I actually found like the kaupapa Māori side of things and my Māori heritage, my whakapapa, all that sort of thing. It wasn't discovered, until uni.
That's me. That's like, everyone's journey is different. Not everyone is blessed to have had so much exposure to Te Ao Māori when they're growing up. So yeah, how is your journey so far? Like, what's it been like?
It's been we talked about it at the start. It's been highs and lows, peaks and troughs. Like, the one thing I regret is not doing kapa haka or even Polyfest back at high school. Not sort of engaging in that as much as probably what I would have wanted to, looking back at it now. But at the time, I just had no interest in it, or I just didn't have that sort of upbringing or that embrace in the Māori side of things, Te Ao Māori. So coming into uni, it was a bit of a culture shock, learning more about myself. Te Kahurangi, who you've had previously, I was talking to her, and she was like, "Oh, your dad's got shares in a property up in Taranaki," and I was just like, "How the hell do you know that?" And before we even started talking about it, she's like, "Oh, is your dad's name Ross Parata?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How do you know that?" And she was just, "Oh, your dad's got shares in land up in Taranaki, like shares with my whānau." I was just like, "Oh my god, like, fuck, small wee world. Here we go." So it was that side of things. I was just like, "That's awesome that we can connect." Got no idea who each other are, but you're still able to connect so easily.
Bro, that's the beauty of Te Ao Māori. Eh? There's a link, there's a connection in there somewhere. It's just, how deep do you want to go?
Pretty much. And that was what Te Kahurangi said. It's like, I could go through records on records of all like Māori land owners, stuff like that. Like, how deep do you want to go?
Nah, she's a treasure too, that girl. She's amazing.
Oh, 100%.
So, what's next for your cultural journey? Well, what are some of the things that you'd like to get ticked off?
Great question. I think I want to do, pardon me, I want to do a te reo course next year. Where and when that would be, I'm not too sure. But I think after being in Te Koronga this year, I think I want to learn how to speak Māori more confidently rather than just your basic kia ora, ki te pihi a koe, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Actually hold a proper conversation. So definitely in terms of my Māori journey, te reo is up there on the list, probably number one. And apart from that, just keep playing Māori hockey, keep engaging in that sort of kaupapa, and just staying close to anything and everything Māori, pretty much. Not sort of going back to where I was at the start of my journey and not engaging with it, but any opportunity that I get is sort of 10 toes down, straight into it, like you're there or you're not, getting stuck straight into those things.
Yo, that's mean. One piece of advice I do have is if you get the opportunity to do a real course that is Te Tarangi based with the little Cuisinare
Mm.
rods, do that. Hands down, that's the best method of learning te reo because you're forced to speak it rather than write it down and learn that way.
Yeah, because my dad did one. He did night classes or years and years and years ago, and I talked to him about it. I was like, how'd you find it? And he's just like, oh, like once use it or lose it. Like he learnt it and could hold a conversation for a month or so, but the less you use it, the more he just lost it. Now he knows some of it, but not hardly any of it.
Yo, that's so true though. If you're not speaking or if you don't have a designated space or time that you kōrero Māori, then yeah, a lot of it, for beginner learners anyway, a lot
Mm,
of it sort of disappears after a while. It's a whole bloody
yeah,
process. It's a whole bloody process. Where I
it's
work currently,
it's
my uncle
tough.
talks about it all the time. So how does Māori hockey contribute to your journey in Te Ao Māori?
I guess again going back to the roots, I first started playing Māori hockey in 20 shivers. When was that? 2018. Um, I was a bit special. I got asked to play for the New Zealand Māori team juniors because they're pretty short of players. I got asked to play. Have never been to a Māori hockey tournament before in my life, and it was, I think they said it was the first person to have done that, to sort of played for them but not gone through Māori hockey tournament. So that was a bit nerve wracking to say the least. I don't think I felt very out of my comfort zone. Like again, this is at the very start of my Māori journey and being thrusted straight into that sort of thing, having to learn haka, waiata, we got welcomed onto the marae, stuff like that. Everything that I'd done before, but just a lot more intense and just something that I wasn't quite used to. So that was my first sort of taste, I guess. And ever since then, it's just been, oh my god, I want to do more. I want to go to Māori hockey tournament every year. I want to learn more waiata. I want to learn more haka, so on and so forth. So my journey through Māori hockey has definitely influenced my Māori journey in general. And it was probably the first sort of point, as I said, that I was like, actually, this is something I want to get into a bit more.
Yo, that's on. And so, when's your guys' next tournaments? Where can we watch?
You can indeed. So we've got Heritage Tournament Easter weekend next year. So what's that? April 2023. So we've got a Heritage Tournament, which is New Zealand Senior Tane, or New Zealand Senior Men's and Women's, or Tane Wahine. Um, New Zealand Indians, New Zealand Pacifica, and a New Zealand Barbarians team. So it's just a 4-team tournament, round robin over Easter weekend. So we've got a squad of 30 at the moment that needs to be narrowed down. So I'm not sure when all that will go ahead. I'm not sure when they'll narrow it down or how they'll do it. But I'm sure we'll find out in due time.
Yo, that's on.
And you can watch on YouTube. I think there'll be live streams.
Yo, well, send us through the links when it happens, bro, and I'll post it up on here for everyone to watch.
100%.
Yeah, man, I definitely know there'll be people interested in watching, man. But who doesn't like watching a bit of sport?
Oh, hey, it's a good pastime as well if you've got study to do. You can just have it on another screen. You're just like sitting there watching as you're typing away.
I feel like that's a dangerous route to go down because then you end up watching more than you're writing.
Yep, yep. And then you start watching other sport that's completely off topic of what you were originally going to watch.
That happens with me during the NBA season. It's just Dual screens going. Couple of games. No writing. No work. But we're all good.
See, that's why I'm happy that cricket season is in the summer when uni's not on, because otherwise, if it was like World Cup, I'd just have the cricket on there. We're talking about even with like the Black Ferns when they were on, it was the last 2 weeks of dissertation writing, and I had dual screen, I had Black Ferns there, I was typing away, and I had my headphones, and then all of a sudden would score a try, and I'd look over, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to get any work done, am I?
Nope. But it's the journey. It's the process. It's that fucking trust the process that we always hear about.
Oh, the amount of times that got used in the office this year. Trust the process, it'll get done. I was a bit sick of it by the end of it.
Bro, fuck the process is what I'm thinking. Fuck the process. I just want the product.
Oh, it's not a. Everyone says it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's like, nah, I just want to get to the destination as quick as possible.
Everyone who says that hasn't written a fucking thesis or a dissertation. They can shove that shit up their ass.
I say it quite a bit, but not in terms of study. In terms of everything else.
Yeah, but when it comes to study, you shove that right up your fucking ass.
Bang on.
That's the
bang
best advice
on.
I can give anyone going through that. It's just anyone that says trust the process, tell them shove that shit up your fucking ass.
Oh, they're full of it.
Exactly. So, in terms of study, what's next? Are you going to continue study, or is that something you might look at later on down the line and just enjoy your time that you got at the moment?
You cut out for a bit there on the recording, but I think I know what you asked. I think in terms of future plans, um, not too sure. I want to go back and do study, so I want to go back and do a master's. Probably not next year. At this stage, it's probably likely going to be 2024.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You're shaking your head. Don't do it.
do
I
it.
know, but oh no, it's calling me back. I'm a sucker for punishment. I want to go back.
Nah, 100%. With your dedication, bro, you can probably get through it.
Yeah, well, we'll soon see. I don't think I was going to get through honors and then made it out the other end. Okay, so we'll give masters a crack. But yeah, hopefully I'll want to go back for one more year at least, and then I think that's probably where I'm going to cut it off.
Yeah. And so, you're just going to enjoy next year, take the break?
Yeah, I'll probably look at working full time. Where that is, not too sure. Still looking around. It'll probably be based in Dunedin again, just because whānau's here, mum and dad, try and save a bit of money where possible, sort of thing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, because living costs are so expensive at the moment, so it's just like,
Oh, shit.
oh yeah, save money where you can, sort of thing. So I was like, I'll look for a job in Dunedin. Mum and dad are awesome. They're just like, oh, you can you can just chill at home and like as long as you're searching for jobs, obviously, but like not just sitting on your ass playing PlayStation. But it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a career path these days.
oh, I'm not good enough. I'm awful. I'm actually
chat.
trash.
You see good chat and people will watch that shit. They'll be like, I don't give a fuck. He sucks, but he's funny.
That's the one thing I struggle with as well is chat. I couldn't do Twitch streaming or anything like that. I'd struggle too much. I'd get too caught up in the game.
Well, then you got to play those what are they? Those GTA RPs.
Yeah,
have you seen those?
Fuck, they seem to be doing bloody well at the moment.
Bro, they look fun, man. They look like so much fun.
That's that shit though that you just go in with mates and just talk shit for hours and just act the goat and just not have a care in the world. Like that's the stuff that I would be like, yeah, that's mean.
Yeah. Bro, you can be like a whatever you can't be in the real world, you know, you can be a serial killer on that if you want to be.
Be a hitman.
Exactly.
Get paid.
Yeah, you can be a taxi driver.
Shit, the possibilities are endless.
Exactly, man. Like I don't think in real life I'd want to be a taxi driver, but you know, in GTA I could drive a cab for $15.
Hey, whatever brings the bills, whatever pays the bills, sorry.
Exactly. What the fuck?
Oh shit.
So how was your trip? Like me, I said it in the first one, I fucking hate camping, I hate hiking. But how was it?
Yeah, good. Really good. Loved it. So I'm quite thankful for my mate. he's got a self-contained van, so we pretty much just he plans a trip, we'll go, split the costs evenly, and then just sort of camp out there for a few days. Sadly, his van actually got broken into.
Ratchet.
Not too sure, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Just all of his nothing got stolen, just all of his windows got smashed, and so we couldn't take it away on the trip just because it was still getting repaired. Um, but we just camped at the wee campground, and yeah, it was amazing. Like that sort of side of things, I love. I love the outdoors. I love going for nature walks, sunsets, sunrises, all that sort of basic white girls things. But that's me to a T. Like I love that shit so much.
Yeah, see, nah, you gotta be that kind of person now, otherwise that shit's just fucking torture.
Oh, because we actually went for a swim. There was a wee glacial lake that still had icebergs in it, and the water was 3 degrees. So me and my mate, oh, there's my flatmates just arrived home. Um, me and my mate went for a wee swim in the glacial lake, and it was actually quite good. It was pretty refreshing.
Bro, fuck that. Fuck that.
That was
It's
all
too
good.
damn cold.
Well,
Gonna
no,
get sick, man.
true, but we saw two European tourists, and one was from Czech Republic, and I think the other one was from Norway, and they were swimming around in that shit like it was nothing. Like in for
Because they come from the ice.
they were in there for a
It
few minutes
snows
at
in their
least,
country.
and me and my mate were in there for 30 seconds tops. Like we went under, came back up, and we were out. Like we were not staying in there any longer than we needed to be.
Oh, yeah, nah, fuck that. Did you get any good photos?
Yeah, unreal photos. Some absolute stunners. We walked up to Mueller Hut, up to the top of I don't know what mountain it's on. One of the mountain ranges off Aoraki. So we walked up to Mueller Hut, and that was unreal. We actually got told by the dock ranger that we probably weren't going to be able to get up because the weather was too bad. The visibility was next to none, and first thing in the morning. And then when we went up, sort of early afternoon, by the time we got up to the plateau before you sort of go into the snow, it all cleared up completely. Like it was beautiful.
Yeah, that's a vibe.
Yeah, it was good. And like it's one of those things as well. It's like it sucks going up and coming back down, but the views just make it worth it.
Yeah, yeah. See, I can see all that shit on Instagram. I don't need to go.
Who are you talking to about that on the podcast? You were talking to someone about that, and I remember it. And I was just like, oh, but you got to experience it for yourself, man. Like, it's not the
I think I
same.
was, well, like, it kind of is. If you like got those VR goggles, you're sweet ass.
Fuck.
Yeah, all
Every,
good.
everything goes digital these days.
Exactly. I don't need to leave my living room and I can climb that mountain.
Because me and my mate actually had a good chat about it up there. He's quite good at photography. Well, he's started getting into it, and he's actually quite talented. And we were talking about how the photos you take don't actually capture the scale of what you're sort of surrounded in. Like the mountains are many, many kilometers high, but if you just take a photo of it on your sort of iPhone, it's just a photo of a mountain. Like it looks cool, but you don't quite see the scale. But he's got like a proper
Right.
camera, and I went up onto the sort of rock ledge. I might even send you the photo if you want to chuck it in the YouTube video.
Yeah, bro. Flip
Um,
it.
but there's me on a rock ledge, and he's a couple hundred meters away, and he's taking a photo, and it's just me looking down over this rock ledge, and it's the mountains in behind, and I'm literally a pixel on the photo, and it just sort of shows you the scale of everything you're surrounded, and it's like holy shit, like this is massive.
No, that is a kind of like a bonus of the hiking. Like I've only been, to Glenorchy out those ways once. So
And that was for
it was fun, but yeah, like it was fun, but it wasn't.
depends what weather you get as well. Like we got really lucky. Like we got mostly all sunshine, apart from a wee bit of rain on the last day when we were leaving. But apart from that, the weather was unreal. But if it was cold, windy, raining, then it would have been probably a pretty shit time.
It was up and down. We had like bits of rain. We had a storm come through.
Oh,
Then it was sunny as fuck. So it was hella confusing. We did river crossings and shit like that.
oh yeah, no, we weren't quite that bad.
Yeah, fucking. Although I will say, like, I wouldn't recommend drinking that much river water, but it was quite refreshing straight off the mountaintops.
Oh,
That was probably the best part.
there's something about just fresh mountain range, like running water, that just hits different. Like it tasted so good, like so much better than the
Yeah.
tap water you get back in Dunners.
Although I do think it still needs to be filtered. I think it still needs to be filtered. There's probably more bacteria and chemicals in there. And never drink the water out of a river if you see animals nearby, because they probably
Hundred,
piss and shit in that.
hundred.
So go further up the mountain.
Yeah, we got ours right from up top. Like we just got fresh like snow from the very top up by Mueller Hut, and we filled up our drink bottles with ice. So then on the way back down, we like chuck them in our shirts because we were sweating, and we just chuck them in our shirts and try and melt it with our body heat. So then we'd have water on the way
Oh,
back down.
yo, that's a vibe. And did you get to do the PE camp, or was it gone by the time you got there?
Go on, brother, go on.
Gym and dance.
Nah, gone. We
Ah,
missed out on
that's
all the good,
depressing.
yeah, we missed out on all the good stuff, bro. Because I hear about like you, Tash, all talk about it. All the old fetters talk about how good like 100 level PE was, and we had specs. Like specs was all good, but we didn't do any of that shit. And I was just like, fuck. Like that would have been mean. That would have been awesome.
Bro, it's definitely like a highlight of university life. It was gym, dance, and camp. The days.
We got
Those were the days.
we did tour in 206 Noho. We did dance as like one of the activities. So
That's right. Yeah,
we
that
got
was
a
that year.
yeah, we got a wee taste snippet of it, but nothing in comparison to what you guys had, which I was not dark about, but I was like pretty gutted.
Did you have fun with that?
Oh, it was so much fun because it's one of those things again. You can just act the goat with your mates, and no one cares. Like it's just all laughs, nothing else. Like it's just so much
Yeah.
fun.
Shout out Benja for setting that up. He was the one that organised that in the hall.
Really. Oh, Benji, you legend. That was mean.
He he's the goat for that. Yeah, that was so much fun. I think I rotated through most of the activities, and I went to the dance. I think I rocked up with Danny and maybe Charlie.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
I remember you three in my group, and it was so much
Oh,
fun.
that's right. Yeah, I was with your group that went there. That's right.
Bro, I couldn't stop laughing the whole entire time.
Well, I can't even remember the dance anymore. I know there was like a hand swing, and then a spin.
I remember there was like a dance move we had to like jump to the side
Oh yeah,
at the
the
start.
Soldier Boy
Yeah,
thing.
we Soldier Boy. Yeah, that's the one. We Soldier Boy at the start. That was crack up.
Oh shit. Yeah, man, that was a good time. That was a good time.
To be
And
fair,
then you guys did Waka too, eh?
yeah, I was gonna say to be fair, that dance was the highlight of the Noho. That was like so much fun. Not like Noho and Kia ora, were pretty good, but like dance was a sort of flashback to the past of what we didn't get. So it was quite nice to experience it.
Bro, yeah, nah. I think a lot of students said that was a highlight for them was that dance sesh. And Sophia, she brings that energy. She is
Oh,
next level. She's goated.
she was so good.
I remember after our because like we have a gym and dance breakup, we go to starters and we get ripped. Bro, I remember her. She was trolleyed as like smacking a pack of durries. She was just chopping beers, and I was like, "Yo, let's
Fuck,
go!"
Jesus.
Legend, absolute ledge.
Shit, that's not what you would expect from your dance teacher.
Exactly, but fuck, it was fun. We're like, "Yo, chug it back."
Oh, you're not helping with my FOMO.
Yeah, man, we could reminisce about those glory days forever. What about your time on Pima? You're a Pima alum. What was your time on Pima like?
Good. Again, it's just another aspect of uni that I loved. Um, I first, so again, going back to the roots as always. Um, I started working at Unipol Recreation Services down here in Otago right after COVID, the first COVID lockdown. I was lucky enough to get a job there, and I happened to meet Tasha Burden, and
Shout out Tash.
shout out Tash, big dog Tash. She
Big dog.
she'll hate me saying that as well. I was on shift with her one day, and she's like, "Oh, are you Māori?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "And you study PE?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, come join Pima, like come along to one of our Pima nights." And after talking to you and Henimore, that is how it starts every single time. It's like, "Oh, are you Māori? Oh, do you study PE? Oh, come along to Pima." Hands down, every single time without fail, that's how we recruit all everyone from Pima, pretty much.
Brotherhood. That's
Oh,
just the rite of passage.
yeah. So after hearing that, I found that quite funny. But yeah, so we went along to Pima Sport Night, which was in Logan Park Gymnasium, where
I remember that.
I think I met you. Who else? Who else was there?
Danger.
Benja was there. Yep. It was
Is
that.
that the one where Jade nutmeg that guy?
Yep. And that's also the one where I think I bowled a chick over.
Yeah, I think so. That was a good time.
It was a good time until I bowled that chick over, and I was like, oh shit. First
Oh
impressions
shit,
really good.
so
Fuck.
it's just like, yeah.
It was completely accidental as well. I felt so bad. But yeah,
And then
no.
what? You were
So
just hooked
joined.
after that?
Sorry.
Were you just hooked after that?
Yeah, bro, 100%. Pretty much after that sport night, kept in comms with Tash, and then I think it might have been recently, or sorry, not recently, not far after. There was the Pima AGM, and I went along to that and sort of registered my interest on being on Pima the following year, and then the rest is history. Was accepted into Pima, like it sounds bad. Um, yeah, joined Pima and then was on Pima exec for 2 years.
Yo, that's a good stint. It's a good stint. It was rough though. You guys all kind of jumped on during that COVID period, so there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of uncertainty. You couldn't really do a lot, and then on top of it, there's that whole controversy around what are they calling that shit? Biculturalism
Yep. Yep.
and all that
Oh,
pressure to
yeah.
perform.
Yeah. And it was also the same time, like Pima. Well, sorry, it was the first few years of the new PE degree, so it was specs. So we're like there was talks about name change from Pima to like Spexma or something like that. It was just like, nah, just keep it the same. Like it's the OG, you can't change it.
Yeah,
I remember there's a lot of combos about that.
yeah. No, it's so hard too because you pretty much have to reforge the identity of what Pima is with that
Yeah,
degree change.
yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of other stuff behind the background that you just don't realize until you're there in person. You're like, oh shit, we can't do this as easily as we thought. Like we have to go through a whole process.
Yeah, bro. It's hectic, hey? But it teaches you so
Oh,
much. What are some of the key learnings that you picked up or gained from Pima?
Um, whakawhanaungatanga would
Mm.
definitely be number one. Just in terms of building relationships, not just within the group, but with other rōpū around University of Otago. Um, Definitely Māori centre and stuff like that were big sort of players in terms of we want to keep on these guys' good side, but also we want to make sure that all the events that we go to, we have a good time, we enjoy each other's company, and make new friends while you're there. Like that's the whole point of university. I feel, besides the study, I should say, is to is to make friends and sort of enjoy each other's company, whether that be old friends, new friends, people you don't know, people you haven't seen in ages. Like the whole point is just to sort of engage with everyone. So whakawhanaungatanga would definitely be number one, and then just time management. Again, going back to that old chestnut, just trying to make sure able to get to meetings on time, make deadlines, so on and so forth, all that sort of boring stuff.
You really learn like the ins and outs of what a meeting is supposed to be, eh? Being on that exec.
Yeah, you learn the hard way, well, not the hard way, but you learn quickly.
Yeah, like fucking minutes and agendas and being there on time.
I remember the Pima AGM that I went to join Pima, and it was all official. We had a chair, we had co-chair, we had minute taker, we had treasury, secretary, all that sort of stuff. I was just so out of my depth. I was just sitting there wide-eyed, like, what do I do here? Holy shit.
Bro, it's hectic. I missed my first one when I got voted on to Pemba. I wasn't there. I was at work. Yeah, man, I was working, and they were messaging the wrong guy. When Benja comes on, I'll try to get him to tell it because he was there. And then the first time I actually met them all, like Benja, Mo, Auntie Stace, I think it was JT and Odie as well. And Cheyenne, they were all on the exec in my first year. But the first time I met them was they were just like, oh, we're all having a piss up, come through. So I was like, oh, yeah, fuck, safe. Rocked up with my box of beers. And I can't remember whose house we were at, but yeah, bro, that's how my Pima started off. I was
Yeah.
applying to be on the regular, the Pākehā exec. And then JT was in there watching to see if any Māori were coming through. And yeah, they're just like, yo, we'll take you. So
The
that's
old
how,
grab by the shirt collar, just yank you away. He's like, nah, you're coming over here.
yeah, bro, and do not regret it. It's an amazing journey. I loved being in Pema. I think that's why I was
Oh,
there for so long.
100%, bro. Yeah. And it's one of those things as well. It's like once you're there, you can't leave. Um, Once you've been in that environment, you're a tuakana to the other ones coming through. Like you can't easily slip under the rug from now on. Like you're point of call whenever you need it, sort of thing. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, bro. How do you think that sort of transition from Pema into Te Koronga, like, kind of, did it help and assist you into integrating into Te Koronga?
100%, definitely. I don't think if I was in PM, I don't think postgrad would have been on the cards. I think I got a taste of postgrad through Pima in terms of from you, from Te Kahurangi, and some others from the other tuakana, I should say, um, and sort of seeing what they were doing and sort of seeing the work. And I was just like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I want to do that. Like, that's something that interests me, but just in a different area, and seeing you guys excel in the areas that you were in, I was like, oh nah, like I have to do this. Like I want to be one of them. Like I want to be a tour kind of for someone else. In sort of that area, I was like, yeah, nah, I can see myself doing it. So in terms of Pima, like had a massive influence on sort of my journey into Te Koronga, but also we had a couple meetings, or not meetings, sorry, we had a couple times that Pima and Te Koronga sort of overlapped, whether that was like for Noho Marae trips. So I got to meet a few, sorry, of the tuakana before moving into Te Koronga. So I already built that relationship, again, going back to whakawhanaungatanga. I already had that relationship before going in, which made the whole transition into Te Koronga a lot easier.
Yeah, bro. It's such a fun environment. Like, at face value, and this is probably how goes down back to how well it's run and like how good of a leader AMJ and Chanel are, is like it's always thriving, and the they always get the best out of their students. Like,
Oh, 100%, every single time.
bro, yeah, it's phenomenal. And now you're a part of the TK Fano for life now.
Again, once you're in, you can't get away. You can't leave.
Brotherhood. And the Fano is just expanding.
Bro. Well, the new centre next year,
Bro, vibes.
it's getting bigger.
Vibes. And I mean, even this year with the interns, how many interns we have, it's mean.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. As well. I was like, we're getting bigger and bigger by the second. Because who was it? It was me, Henny Moore, last year over summer. I think there was just two of us, and now
Yeah, I
all of a
think so.
sudden there's four or five.
Five, I think. Who did I meet?
Yeah.
No, wait, more. No, because I've got Emma Jones is doing an internship this summer.
Yep.
Tane, he's doing
Yep.
one. Tane Whitehead. Henny Moore's doing one.
Yep.
Then they've got these other two and Leah.
Yeah. Shit. True.
I only met the other two on Monday, but I can't remember their names. Sorry, team.
Will Whelan is one. I know that. I can't remember the other guy.
Yeah.
Apologies.
But it's all good. That's me. Whānau's growing, getting bigger. Need to get some more tāne in there, man.
I was just about to say, I was like, the one thing I remember from Benja is when I first joined Te Koronga was, it's always good to see another Tane come into the group because nothing wrong with Wahine Toa, but we've got a lot of Wahine and we're getting outnumbered.
Yeah, bro. Nah, they're amazing academics. Our Wahine, they keep us striving for greatness. They really do.
They keep us in line.
Yeah, man. Like, it's just trying to reach their excellence. You're like, holy shit,
Bro,
man.
100%. Well, yeah, we need some more. We want some more Tane.
Hard out. Hard out. Bring back Jack. Bring back Jack.
Oh, should we get that trending on Twitter or something?
Bro.
Hashtag bring back Jack.
Hashtag bring back Jack. I miss that guy in that space. You
He's
filled his
just
role
another one
well.
as well. Oh, did I? I don't think I can live up to that expectation of Jack. Fuck, that's a tough. Those are some tough boots to fill.
Oh, you did well. You did well. You followed in a similar trajectory, just as busy. If not, you might have been a little bit more busier. Managed to get your shit done on time. It was good.
Oh, yeah, well, he might come back in a few years' time,
Yeah,
hopefully.
he's thinking about it. We'll get him on the show. I think I've got him booked in mid-January, so we'll get his side of the story.
Perfect. I look forward to hearing from him. We'll start speaking on his behalf.
Bro, we've reached that time in the show where we dip into the dream box. So the way this works, bro, is I'm pretty sure you've heard this, and everyone else who listens often hears this. But if this is your first time listening, the dream box is a box where dreams get stored. They don't die in this box. They just get temporarily stored until people achieve their dreams. There's quite a lot in here now, which is great. And eventually, they're going to go up on that back wall there, or wherever the fuck my new office will end up being one day. And we get to live out people's dreams. We get to make sure that people achieve them. So the next time Nick comes on the show, then we'll say, how much closer are you to achieving your dream? If it was, like, where did I write? I think I wanted to own a McLaren. I'm not quite there yet. I'm like $359,000 away from my McLaren, but we're getting there.
Fuck, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, bro, but that's why it's a dream.
True, very true. Got to start somewhere.
Exactly. So, what's your dream, bro? What's a dream of yours that you would like to achieve? We've had some amazing ones. I think Barry's is a standout just because it's such a real and raw response, to make 30 is something that we kind of take for granted.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, bro, what's your dream?
There's some tough dreams to follow, as you said. There's been from what I've heard anyway, from the podcast I've listened to, there's a lot to follow up on. Like there's some goodies in there. I think I've got a couple. I think one for me, my main one, in terms of relating it back to my kaupapa this year, my honours dissertation, is there being more taonga takoto being played across the motu, across Aotearoa.
Yo.
I think taonga takoto as a whole are very much underutilized within schools and within sort of university, and are definitely a pathway that could be used to sort of incorporate more easily incorporate kaupapa Māori into those spaces, and it doesn't have to be so intrusive as some people think it is. Like it's literally just playing a game, a traditional Māori game, and that's might be someone's first step. It was my first step into sort of my Māori journey, my first major step, and that could be someone else's. So I feel like it's just a good opportunity for someone to find their passion, like I did.
Bro, hard. No, that's a mean one. What are some of the steps that you think you could take to begin achieving this dream?
Yeah, there's always going to be a lot of steps. There's always going to be things you can do that could try and better whatever you're trying to achieve. I don't think anything's ever going to be perfect, but I think one of the main ones is just getting taonga takoto as a whole more, not so much understood, but recognized. You obviously can't go straight away into, oh, today we're doing Kiorahi, we're going to play Kiorahi, or we're going to play another traditional Māori game. Like it's got to sort of bit slowly build up to that point where people either feel comfortable or capable of playing the game. So definitely just the recognition as a whole, and just trying to get the word out there, and just maybe even having social games or whatever, and just be, oh, we're going to go play Kia ora down at Logan Park Fields. Like, bring your mates along if they don't know how to play, all good. Haere mai, like, get them down here, we'll explain the rules. And sort of just make it a non-judgmental space for them to learn and sort of enjoy what I've loved over the last sort of 2 or 3 years.
Yo, that's mean. That's a great answer. Yeah, bro. Shut up. That's a mean answer.
It's one of those questions. Oh, it's one of those questions like it could go any way. And as I said, there's many different routes you could take and different steps you can do to try and achieve your goal or your dream. But nothing's ever going to be perfect. People go about it differently.
Yeah, I mean, perfection is kind of what do we call it? A figment of your own imagination. What's perfect to you is imperfect to someone else. So, and you're always chasing perfection, which is some far off fucking target off in the bloody lands of impossible.
Bro, 100%.
That's what I'm thinking about this damn thesis.
Oh, you're. I've got no words. I was gonna say like. I've got nothing to encourage you. I was going to come up with something witty, but you've got this. But it's a shit journey to be on by yourself.
Just trust the process.
Oh, fuck! Not that again.
Yeah, nah, it's all good. We'll get there. When we cross that bridge, I'm fucking celebrating hard. I'm getting ripped for a week.
You need to get it done before May grade.
Yeah, I'll try to. Well, it depends how long it takes to get marked and how long it takes to find a marker. Hopefully, I can get a lot done over December, January, and have it handed in by Feb. Yeah.
Surely Feb, April, 3 months. There should be plenty enough time to get it marked and find a marker and all that sort of stuff. Surely.
Yeah. So put a timeline on the completion of this thing.
Give yourself a date to get it done by. You'll get it done by that date, I promise you.
Bro, I've pushed that date out like 7 times this year. It was supposed to be done by May this year. Then it was supposed to be done by August. And then it was supposed to be done by September, October, November, December. Now it's going next year.
Oh, shit.
These are the joys, bro, of starting a master's. Just be onto it. Don't be like me. Be more like Benja. He got his done with no stress. He was coming into Te Koronga at like 9 in the morning. He'll leave at 3 p.m., go shoot hoops, and that was him.
There's not a bad process.
Bro, he was on. He was on. Shout out, Benja.
Again.
Yeah. The next thing I will ask you is if you could tell yourself, your younger self, let's go with 19-year-old Nick, a piece of advice. Oof. What would you tell 19-year-old Nick?
First year Nick, trust the process.
Fuck the process.
I don't know what I'd tell myself, to be fair. I think it's what happens for a reason. Don't get caught up in tiny things that don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. I think, again, going back to that idea about perfectionism, I was very much always wanting to be the top student, whether that was out of the class or just wanting to get the best grades possible. And when I didn't achieve where I thought I was up to, I'd get real negative on myself. So I think I just tell myself, like, it's all good to get good grades and stuff like that, but it's not be all end all. Like, you've got a social life, you've got whānau, you've got relationships, friendships to sort of cater to as well. Like, uni's not be all end all. So again, as much as we've sort of shat on at this podcast, trust the process. Like, don't worry about what's going to happen in the future, what's happened in the past. Like, just be in the present and do what needs to be done.
Yo, that's some great advice. And yeah, like you say, I guess that's that whole fucking thing, trust the process. It all comes back around and you realize, oh, maybe you do just trust the process. As much as you want to say fuck the process.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is like if I told myself or I told 19-year-old Nick that I've just finished a honors dissertation, I'm looking at doing a master's thesis, 19-year-old would have just laughed in my face and just gone, "Oh, you nerd." Like there's no way in first year, or even like second year, that I was going to do any sort of postgrad study. So the fact that I'm here and I'm looking at doing further study is just testament of everything happens for a reason. Like it might not be what you planned out to be, but just roll with the flow.
Yo, that's a vibe. I rate that. That's great advice. It's a great reflection too.
Hey, has to be done.
100%. So now the next question is, what do you think you'd tell yourself, or what's some advice you give yourself in 5 to 10 years? So if you look back on this video in 5 to 10 years time, what's something that you'd like to hear or you'd like to say to yourself?
Keep being yourself. Keep doing you. Don't fall into other people's bullshit and don't fall into other people's negativity and doubting. They might be doubting you. Like just keep doing what you're doing, because I think the one thing I've been very lucky this year is having a lot of time to sort of reflect, especially around my postgrad. Like I wasn't sort of happy with where it was going, but after handing in, post hand in, I've had some time to sort of reflect on the year that's been. I was like, actually, fuck, you've gone above and beyond what you thought you would able to do at the start of the year. Like all the prior commitments against sports, social, whānau, stuff like that. There's just a lot of things that you have to take into account. So like just keep being yourself, keep doing you, keep doing what makes you happy. Don't buy into other people's sort of persona of what you don't buy into other people's like mold of what they think you should look like or what you should be. Just do what makes you happy.
Yo, I love that. I love that. Do what makes you happy, Fano. Don't change for anyone else. Just be you. That's on. That's some great advice. I've a kind of a follow up question to all of this as well. Is
Yo.
what question do you wish I'd have asked, and how would you have answered it?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good question. I think when you told me it's oh, do you want to do a podcast? And I was like real keen. I was like, okay, I need to mentally prepare myself. Like, what do I want to talk about? Like, what am I going to be asked? So I guess I sort of thought about questions you'd asked me, but I didn't actually expect to talk about it for the ones that I didn't get asked. Um, I don't think there's any really. I think the one thing I might have thought I got asked more about was possibly actually no, I lie. I was going to say Māori hockey, but you talked about that time management, all that sort of stuff, like from Te Koronga, all yeah, all the ones I sort of were main talking points, and my journey as well. My Māori journey was a big thing that I wanted to talk about, um, and like it's not all peaches and roses. Um, but yeah, I think you answered most of or asked most of the questions I was sort of expecting, and I talked about everything I sort of wanted to.
Is there anything you'd like to say then that we haven't quite covered yet that we might be able to chop it up about?
Ooh, nah, bro. I'm pretty happy with how this has gone. Like I love talking about my maybe more about my postgrad, about my research. But like my journey was the main thing I wanted to talk about, I think, and just sort of how everything sort of come together and come to fruition.
Yo, yo. Well then, how does how does your journey, your post grad career that's just beginning, how is all of that going to tie in together to create this new version of Nick that we're currently seeing growing and evolving? How does all of that contribute?
I think the experiences that you get from like postgrad, from your other sort of other commitments, and the journey that you go through and sort of the highs and the lows, the peaks and the troughs. Those experiences build who you are and sort of build the resilience that you need. So when you enter sort of adult life or out post sort of uni, you've got the resilience to sort of stand up to any shit that might be happening, whether that's within the workplace, within whānau, relationships, whatever. That resilience that you build up over time is really important. And I don't think it's actually looked at enough, like around, especially around mental health. All those wee things that sort of poke you. It's like poking a bear with a stick. Like the more that you poke it, the more it gets agitated, the more it gets pissed off. I feel like that's mental health as well. Like the more those wee things keep bothering you, the more it starts to build up, and eventually you start going down a wee bit of a spiral, and it just doesn't sort of work out the way that you wanted it to. So that resilience is sort of bounce back after being down in the dumps or things not going right. The resilience to bounce back and be like, actually, no, I've got this, is something that uni, post grad, and my journey in particular, I think, has taught me quite well.
Yo, nah, that's mean. And so you touched a little bit on mental health, and that's a huge kaupapa for everybody. What are
Mm.
some of your methods in dealing with some of those issues that may arise to cause any extra stress on your mental health?
Great question. I think, again, being sport orientated and loving sport, that's my biggest coping mechanism. So especially throughout winter when things were starting to sort of ramp up with dissertation and things were getting a bit stressful, my sort of release point was through hockey, whether that was training or the game. And it's kind of dependent on how hockey went, how I would then respond later in the week. So if we had like a really bad training, then they'd sort of put me in a bit more of a hole. But if we had a really good training and played really well, then it sort of made me feel a lot better. And I was able to bounce back the following week and sort of start when as soon as it came Monday, was able to hit the ground running at the start of the week. But if I had a bit of a shitter in the weekend, didn't play so well, um, then it'd start the week off probably a bit slower than what I would have wanted. So I think sport had a major influence. Again, going back to the outdoors, trying to get out and about as much as possible, trying to get as much fresh air. Again, doing small things like watching the sunset, sunrise may seem odd to other people, but to me, that's just something that I use to sort of release. Listen to music as well as another big one. Just trying to do things to take things off, take my mind off things. Sorry, that would otherwise distract me or put me further in sort of a hole or get me upset. So just any distraction I could sort of find, with the main ones being sport, music, and sort of outdoors.
Yo, that's mean. That's great advice. I yeah, do think outdoors has a huge healing aspect to it. Just getting outside for a bit, getting away from a little bit of technology, and just disengage from that social media life and just re-engage with to tie off for a little bit.
And that green space, blue space as well, has got a lot of healing properties. I don't think a lot of people really sort of click onto until you're there and you're like, oh, actually, this is very helpful. Like this is unreal.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of the beach. Except here, like we got black sand. It's not the greatest. It's very hot in summer, but nah, big fan of the beaches. Uh, we got this dope ass lookout point. It's by Paritutu Rock. It's nice, just chill up there, kick back. You got greenery, you got the oceans. It's a nice place to just go relax for a bit. And then there's like some twisty roads, so you can carve that up on your motorbike. It's pretty fun.
Oosh. Yeah, that's mean.
Yeah, bro.
That's mean.
No, it's so much fun. Another thing I wanted to ask is something that I've talked about with a few of my mates in our friend groups and stuff like that is the importance of good relationships and those friendships that you build throughout university or even, through your work life and stuff like that. Why is that important? Is that important to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, again, going back to my journey, when I started PE first year, I knew no one. So there was no one from my school that was going into the PE degree at the time. So I was pretty much all by myself in a class of 300, 200, 300 odd students. And I was coming from a school that overall was quite big. Overall, we had about 800, 900 students. but our class size, the biggest we would have got to was 30. And now you're in a lecture theatre with 300, and you're just sort of looking around wide-eyed thinking, oh my God, I need to make friends with someone, otherwise I'm going to look like a loser, like I'm going to be all on my lonesome. So that was, again, another stress that I didn't need going into my first day of uni. But the relationships and the friendships that I've built from uni are hands down some of the best memories they'll ever have. And definitely those friendships and those relationships are important to me in terms of they are sort of helped create who I am, in terms of the friend that I want to be and the friend that I am to them.
Yo, yeah, hard up. I feel like it's more important to be a good friend than to have good friends. I think, anyway, because then it's
Yeah,
a reflection of who you are as a person, and then those people kind of just gravitate to you, so you end up with a group of good people.
yeah, 100%. And I was very, very lucky on my first day. I saw a couple people that I knew. So I had an interview with Michaela Gray, one of my good mates. She had an interview with me at the same time at Unipol. She got the job. I didn't, but I still knew her. So I went over and said hi, and then another one of my mates, real good mates, Gabby, she went to school with Michaela. So there was two people, and I did a course with Gabby in year 13 in 2018 around sport and like nutrition and all that, like the ideal athlete at the Polytech. So I knew those two, and then once I had those two, I was like a wee sheep. I followed them. I followed the shepherd for the first, I don't know how long, 2 weeks. So I followed those two around, and eventually our group grew to about 10 or so over the course of the next few years. And we all keep in real close touch with each other. But it's quite funny how you sort of stick to a couple people or a group, and then eventually that group just grows and grows and grows.
Bro, it's so mean until it's not. When everyone leaves, and then it's kind of just you left, and you're like, have you seen that meme of Will Smith in that empty house at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel Air? Like, that's how you feel, man. You're just looking around, like, bruh,
Where did everyone go?
yeah, man.
I'm quite lucky. Michaela and Gabby are both locals. They're both from Dunedin, so I can still see them often enough. There's a couple more. Sam's gone up to Wellington. Georgia, she's still based down here. Ben, one of my good mates, I knew him from school. He's still based here. He's doing physio, so he's still keeping relatively good touch with everyone. And everyone's sort of in close proximity to each other.
How do you guys manage those long distance friendships? Do you guys set up any like catch ups, or what do you call them, like friendiversaries, where you all just get together and go to a beer fest or something?
Oh, I wish, I wish. I'm going up to Wellington to see my flatmates from last year. So me, my flatmate this year, Zach, me and him are going up to Wellington. I think a few others, and Zach's girlfriend. So we're all going up and just going up there to sort of catch up with the bro. And then I think we're going north for like a wee tiki tour, go camping or something, or like get out of Wellington. So I was like, if we go further north, do you think we could go to Otaki? Cool past
Brotherhood,
Otaki?
brotherhood, go live there,
Surely.
man. Go to the
So yeah,
telly.
so like, yeah, bro, 100%. So we're just like, yeah, we do small things like that, but apart from that, not really. Just talk on group chats, just keeping comms, keeping close comms with each other, but not really any catch ups. If people come down to Dunners, then it's a bit easier because it's sort of all based here. So
Yeah,
we try and convince everyone to come down here so we can do something, not go up there. Um, but that's just us being selfish.
yeah, bro. It is hard, eh? Like managing those relationships and those expectations that some people have to, keep in touch all the time. But life gets hectic, man.
Yeah.
You can't
Oh,
always.
exactly.
So you just
It's one of
gotta.
those things that you just you got to take it as it comes. Like people need to realize that you're busy. If you're busy, then you just need to let them know, like keep good communication, stuff like that. But say you're still keen to catch up, like the more you just say, oh no, I can't, and then just leave it at that. Like no wonder friend groups sort of fall out because when the communications are that shit, it's just
Yeah,
like no, just like tell them, oh, I'm really stressed out at the moment with uni, with work, whatever.
bro. Hard out. You. like the Pro Barry says, you're never too busy just to catch up. Reschedule if you can. That's the main thing. And fuck, if you can't catch up, ring them. Just have to catch up over the phone. Fuck, it's that easy.
Everyone does everything over FaceTime and Messenger call now anyway, so there's no harm in doing that instead.
Hard. Is there anything that you want to say before we wrap up the end of the show here?
Nah, bro. I've pretty much covered everything that I've wanted to. I'm glad we actually talked about mental health at the end, because that's another point that I'm quite sort of keen on. But nah, follow the bro, 99Dreams. I'm assuming if you're listening to this, then you're already following him. I hope so anyway.
Subscribe, please. I've only got 21 subscribers. Let's get some more subscribers.
Oh, shit. Nah, nothing from me, bro. I'm an open book. But yeah, follow the bro. If you want to talk to me as well, I think Rawadi will chuck a social up.
Yep, socials will be down here.
Yeah, always keen for Cordial, stuff like that.
Do you have any preferred social media? Like, I think mostly I'm just throwing everyone's Instagram on there.
I think Instagram's just more universal. I think it's just a lot easier, and then you can go further from there if you'd like.
And no one really uses Facebook. It's only Messenger that people use Facebook for. And to sign into our Te Korongo Mondays.
Yeah, true. Oh, LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn's always a good one. That seems to be popping off.
Oh, yeah. Well, send me your LinkedIn and I'll tag it in the video below. Everything will be in the description below.
Yeah, bro.
Easy. Well, we've come to the end of the show, brother. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been an amazing corridor. I've had so much fun. We've covered such a variety of things, and in your short lifespan, you've done quite a lot, bro. You should be proud of yourself, man.
Cheers, brother. I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate the corridor as always.
Hard. Just like I tell everyone, man, this show is nothing without the guests. So anyone else want to jump on, hit me up. Let me know. Always keen to have more guests. We pump out amazing conversations like this. But thank you so much, Nick, for jumping on. Again, his socials will be linked down in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, well, that doesn't apply to you. Just, I don't know, rate me 5. Give me 5 stars, please. Surely this is worth 5 stars.
Give him the stars.
Give me the 5 stars.
Give him the 5 stars.
But no, thank you so much, everybody. This is the 99Dreams podcast. I'm Rawari. My guest today has been Nick Parata. Thank you so much for listening. Moriore te whānau. Ka kite. Stay safe.